Chosen one, have you ever felt the crushing weight of betrayal slice through your soul like a dagger in the dark? Have you watched helplessly as those you trusted most gathered in shadowy corners, their whispers sharp as broken glass, plotting your destruction while wearing masks of friendship? Have you stood trembling in empty rooms, knowing that somewhere right now a circle of enemies speaks your name like a curse they're casting into the wind? Chosen one, if these words are cutting straight through the armor you've built around your wounded heart, if you can feel that familiar ache rising in your chest like a phoenix from ashes, then listen carefully, because tonight heaven itself has pulled back the curtain on the most ancient betrayal known to mankind. They thought they were writing your obituary, but God was scripting their downfall. Here's the shocking truth they don't want you to discover. Every whisper they breathed against you in darkness has become evidence in heaven's courtroom. Every laugh that was meant to bury your dreams has become the sound of their own judgment day approaching. Every scheme they crafted in secret has become the very trapdoor beneath their feet. The same people who gathered like vultures over what they thought was your corpse are about to discover that you weren't dying. You were being resurrected. And their celebration? It was actually their funeral march. Tonight, you won't just witness justice, you'll watch divine choreography unfold as God himself orchestrates their fall, one mask dropping at a time, one lie crumbling into dust, one betrayer facing the mirror of their own making. But before we journey deeper into this sacred revelation, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating. You're sowing seeds into a harvest that will feed hungry souls across this nation. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let that gratitude flow through your fingertips. If you know betrayal's sting, if you felt the poison of false friends burning in your veins, type, "I know this pain" in the comments right now. Don't stay silent. You're not alone in this valley. And what you're about to witness will prove that God never forgets those who've been wounded by wolves in sheep's clothing. Stay with me, chosen one, because before this message ends, you'll watch masks drop and powers crumble in a way that only God himself could orchestrate. The hunters are about to become the hunted. The proud are about to fall. And you're about to discover why you had to walk through hell to reach your heaven. The show is beginning. And this time, you're not the target. You're the witness to their destruction. Can you hear them whispering your name in the shadows right now? Can you feel their eyes burning holes through your back when you walk into that room? Do you know what it's like to discover that the very people who smiled at your table were the same ones sharpening knives behind your chair? Chosen one, tonight we're pulling back the curtain on the most ancient conspiracy in human history. The gathering of the envious, the coalition of the cowardly, the alliance of the threatened. They thought they were meeting in secret, but God was recording every word. Every whisper was a nail in their own coffin. Every scheme was another stone in the foundation of their own destruction. Every laugh at your expense was the sound of their dignity dying in real time. Picture this, a dimly lit room where your name rolls off their tongues like poison. They're not discussing your failures. They're terrified of your potential. They're not exposing your weaknesses. They're threatened by your strength. Each word against you is actually a confession of their own inadequacy, their own fear that you carry something they'll never possess. But here's what they didn't know. Every pit they dug for you became your stepping stone to higher ground. Joseph knew this agony. Genesis 37:4 tells us his own brothers hated him and could not speak peaceably to him. His own flesh and blood looked at his coat of many colors and saw everything they weren't. So they gathered in their circle of malice, they plotted in their pit of envy, and they threw him into a hole they dug with their own jealous hands. But listen carefully, dear one. That pit wasn't Joseph's grave, it was his tunnel to the palace. Those same brothers who meant to bury him alive would one day bow before his throne, begging for mercy from the man they tried to destroy. Right now, somewhere in America, there's a group that whispered your name in darkness, and they're discovering what Joseph's brothers learned the hard way. You cannot fight heaven's plan and win. You cannot curse what God has blessed and expect to prosper. To every senior watching this who's felt forgotten, overlooked, pushed aside, you weren't abandoned. You were preserved. Like fine wine aging in darkness, like gold refined in hidden fires, God was preparing you for a moment when your wisdom would shine brighter than their schemes. They dug that pit thinking it would contain you. But pits have a way of becoming foundations. Valleys have a way of becoming launching pads. And every hole they carved in your life became sacred ground where heaven planted seeds of your comeback. The ground they thought would bury you is the very soil where their pride lies rotting. Their whispers have become evidence. Their schemes have become their own snares. Their plot has become their prison. If you've been in that pit, if you know what it feels like to have people you trusted throw dirt on your dreams, declare it right now. I know this pit. Because your testimony isn't just rising, beloved. It's about to roar. And when it does, those same voices that tried to silence you will echo with one question. How did we become the ones who fell? Picture this, chosen one, the grandest theater on Broadway, where master illusionists command standing ovations night after night. The crowd gasps as smoke billows from golden chalices, as mirrors flash and twist reality itself. For months, maybe years, your enemies have been performing this exact show. They've convinced the world they were the heroes of your story, the victims of your success, the innocent bystanders to your supposed failures. But tonight the smoke machine breaks down. Can you hear it? That soft hissing sound as their carefully crafted illusions begin to leak like air from a punctured tire. The mirrors they use to reflect false images of themselves are developing hairline fractures, spider-webbing across their perfect facades. And somewhere, in the suffocating silence of their 3 a.m. bedrooms, they're staring at ceilings with eyes that have seen too much, done too much, betrayed too much. The cruelest punishment for a master of deception isn't that others stop believing their lies, it's that they can no longer believe themselves. Listen carefully, dear one. When the human mind tries to hold two conflicting truths, what they know is right, and what they've convinced themselves to believe, something breaks. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, but the Bible calls it something far more powerful. The wicked flee when no one pursues. Proverbs 28:1. Their own conscience has become their prosecutor, their judge, their executioner. Do you see them now? Scrolling through your social media at midnight, desperate to find evidence that you're broken, only to discover you're thriving. That terrifies them more than any revenge you could have planned. They expected to find you shattered, but instead they find you shining, and that light exposes every crack in their crumbling foundation. Think about Judas for a moment. He walked with Jesus himself, shared meals at the same table, witnessed miracles that defied human understanding. Yet for 30 pieces of silver, roughly 4 months' wages, he sold out the Son of God. But here's what haunts every betrayer. The moment those silver coins touched his palm, they began to burn. Matthew 27:3 tells us he was seized with remorse. The money he thought would free him became chains that dragged him to his grave. Your enemies are holding their own 30 pieces of silver right now. Every lie they told about you, every friendship they gained by betraying you, every moment of false victory they celebrated, it's all turning to molten metal in their hands, searing their souls with the truth they can't escape. The stage lights are blazing hot now, chosen one. The smoke has cleared completely. The mirrors have shattered into 1,000 pieces, each shard reflecting their guilt from a different angle. And what they see staring back at them isn't confidence, it's terror. Pure, paralyzing terror of the justice that's already in motion. If you've seen masks fall, if you've watched someone's true face emerge from beneath their carefully constructed lies, share it below. Tell your truth, because the mask breaking isn't coming. It's already begun. And what you're about to witness next will shake you to your very core. Betrayal never comes from an enemy, chosen one. It never arrives wearing the mask of a stranger. No, betrayal always comes dressed in familiarity, wearing the face of someone who shared your Thanksgiving table, who knew your children's names, who held your deepest secrets like sacred treasures in their heart. And that's exactly why it cuts so deep. You know this agony, don't you? That sickening moment when you discovered the very hands you trusted to catch you when you fell were the same hands that pushed you into the pit. Maybe it was your own son who turned his back when you needed him most, choosing his wife's family over the woman who gave him life. Maybe it was your best friend of 30 years who spread lies about you at the church you both attended every Sunday morning for decades. The Bible captures this torture perfectly in Psalm 55, verses 12 through 14. For it is not an enemy who reproaches me, then I could bear it. But it was you, a man my equal, my companion, and my acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together and walked to the house of God in the throng. David knew this pain, the sting of betrayal from those closest to his heart. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand about betrayal, dear one. When someone truly betrays you, truly stabs you in the back, they don't just wound you. They wound themselves far deeper than any blade could ever penetrate. Think of Caesar and Brutus. History remembers Caesar as a leader, but Brutus, his name became synonymous with treachery for over 2,000 years. Et tu, Brute, even you, Brutus. Those words echo through eternity, marking him not as a patriot but as the ultimate betrayer. That's the backlash of betrayal, chosen one. It doesn't just wound, it brands. It doesn't just hurt, it haunts. Your betrayer thought they were clever, didn't they? They calculated their moves, whispered their poison, gathered their little army of allies. But what they didn't calculate was this cosmic truth that's about to shake your understanding of divine justice. Every shard of glass they smashed from your life cut them deeper than it ever cut you. Because you, precious child of the Most High, you heal, you rise, you overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. But them, they're haunted. They can't escape the ghost of what they destroyed. They see your face in their dreams, hear your voice in the wind, and in the quiet moments when their applause dies down and their crowd goes home, they're left alone with the crushing weight of their own conscience. If you know the sting of betrayal, if you felt that knife twist in your back from someone you loved, just write yes in the comments. That one word connects you to every chosen one listening, every soul who understands that betrayal isn't just an action, it's a spiritual violation that leaves scars on both the betrayer and the betrayed. But here's what's about to shock you beyond measure. Their betrayal wasn't your destruction, it was your liberation. And what they thought would bury you has actually become the fertile soil where your greatest victory is about to bloom. Listen carefully, chosen one. Do you hear that sound echoing from the darkness where your enemies once gathered? It's not the sound of victory they expected. It's the hissing of serpents turning on each other, fangs dripping with the same poison they once reserved for you. Picture this, a nest of vipers coiled together in perfect unity, their eyes gleaming with shared hatred. They thought their collective venom was meant for your destruction. But here's what they never understood about the spiritual laws that govern this universe. When serpents gather to strike the innocent, they inevitably devour each other. The Apostle Paul warned us in Galatians 5:15. If you bite and devour each other, watch out, or you will be destroyed by each other. These aren't just ancient words gathering dust on cathedral shelves. This is prophetic blueprint unfolding in real time before your very eyes. Watch them now. The same circle that once fed off each other's bitterness toward you has become a feeding frenzy of mutual destruction. The ringleader who orchestrated your humiliation is now being consumed by their own followers. The lieutenant who carried out their schemes has become the primary target of suspicion. The chorus of voices that once sang your downfall in perfect harmony has erupted into a symphony of accusations. Why is this happening? Because hate is the weakest glue in existence. You cannot build lasting bonds on shared destruction. You cannot forge genuine unity through collective cruelty. Their alliance was never strong. It was brittle envy, held together by jealousy's thread. The moment their schemes against you began to crumble, their true nature emerged. Not loyalty, but survival instinct. Not brotherhood, but backstabbing desperation. Not unity, but the savage law of the jungle, where only the most ruthless survive. But here's the divine irony that should send chills down your spine. Every bite they take out of each other is God's justice in motion. The psalmist David knew this truth when he declared, "The wicked plots against the just, but the Lord laughs at him, for he sees that his day is coming." Right now, as you listen to my voice, their WhatsApp groups are exploding with paranoia. Their coffee shop meetings have become interrogations. Their secret alliances are cracking like ice in a New York spring thaw. The poison they brewed for you has become the acid dissolving their own bonds from within. This is why you never had to lift a finger in retaliation, dear one. While they were constructing their pit of vipers, you were rising above it, protected by forces they could never comprehend. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Your restraint wasn't defeat, it was divine strategy. Comment. The snakes are eating themselves if you can already see this truth manifesting in your own situation, because heaven is showing you proof that justice doesn't sleep. It simply waits for the perfect moment to strike. But what happens when karma becomes a mirror that forces them to confront the monsters they've become? What you're about to witness next will shake you to your very foundation. Listen carefully, chosen one. There's a torment that money can't silence, that power can't shield against, that fame can't drown out. It's the whisper that follows your betrayers into their bedrooms at 3 in the morning when the world is quiet and their souls are naked before God. They thought they buried you, but they buried themselves instead. Right now, as you listen to these words, your enemies are staring at ceilings, hearts pounding like war drums in their chests. Sleep has become their enemy because every time they close their eyes, they see your face. Every dream becomes a courtroom where they stand accused not by you, but by their own conscience. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 28:1, "The wicked flee when no one pursues." Do you see it now? They're running from ghosts they created, haunted by shadows of their own making. Shakespeare knew this truth when he wrote Lady Macbeth scrubbing her hands raw, crying out, "Out, damned spot." The blood she saw wasn't on her skin, it was seared into her soul. That's your enemies tonight, chosen one. Scrubbing, denying, pretending. But the stain remains. Can you imagine the weight they carry? Every cruel word they spoke about you now echoes in their heads like a death sentence. Every lie they told burns like acid in their throats. Every scheme they plotted has become quicksand, pulling them deeper into torment. But here's what terrifies them most. They can't undo it. They can't take back the poison they spilled. They can't resurrect the trust they murdered. And deep in their hearts, they know you deserved better. Every night they hear your voice in the wind. Every lie tastes like ash in their mouths. Every mirror reflects a traitor's face staring back at them with hollow, haunted eyes. The prophet David declared in Psalm 7:15, "He made a pit and dug it, and has fallen into the ditch which he made." Your enemies dug a pit for you, but they're the ones who fell into it. Their conscience has become their prison, and there's no parole for betrayal. This is divine justice, chosen one, not revenge, but restoration. God doesn't need your help to settle scores. He uses their own hearts as weapons against them. Their torment is your confirmation that heaven saw what they did to you. Heaven never sleeps when its chosen ones are wronged. If you've felt heaven's justice moving in your life, if you've watched your enemies crumble under the weight of their own guilt, declare it boldly. God saw it all. But what happens when their carefully constructed masks begin to crack and fall? When the world sees what's been hidden beneath their polished facades? Listen closely. Chosen one. Do you hear that sound? It's the cracking of facades, the splintering of lies, the shattering of carefully constructed thrones that your enemies built with their own blood-stained hands. For months, maybe years, you watched them parade their fake confidence like peacocks in designer suits. They flaunted wealth like weapons, used status like shields, and spoke with the arrogance of those who believed their own mythology. But here's what they forgot. God sees through every mask. The Bible declares in Proverbs 16:18, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Your enemies thought they were untouchable. They believed their money could buy silence, their connections could purchase protection, their influence could rewrite reality itself. But Halloween is over. Chosen one. The costume party has ended. Think about Watergate politicians who ruled from marble halls, who commanded armies and influenced nations, brought down by their own arrogance. Think about Enron executives in $1,000 suits who controlled billions, reduced to orange jumpsuits because they believed their own lies. History screams this truth. When you build your throne on deception, gravity becomes your enemy. Can you see it happening to them now? That same crowd that once celebrated their every move is stepping back, embarrassed they ever stood so close. Their fake alliances are crumbling like sand castles at high tide. The very people who clapped for their performance are now whispering about their failures. Why? Because the universe has a perfect memory. Every lie they told about you, every scheme they hatched in secret meetings, every moment they mocked your struggles, it's all been recorded in the cosmic ledger. And tonight, the books are being audited. Jesus himself warned about this in Luke 12:2. Nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Your enemies thought they were clever magicians, dazzling audiences with smoke and mirrors. But when the spotlight of truth hit, the smoke cleared, the mirrors shattered, and everyone saw the wires, the trapdoors, the desperate mechanics of their deception. Their wealth, built on quicksand. Their status, a house of cards in a hurricane. Their confidence, nothing but stage makeup that melted under pressure. And here's the beautiful irony. While they collapse under the weight of their own lies, you remain standing. Not because you fought them with their weapons, but because truth needs no defense. The masks have fallen. The daylight burns away every disguise. If you've ever watched a mask fall off someone you trusted, share your story in the comments. You are living proof that God's justice never sleeps. But what happens when their own poison starts eating them alive from the inside? What you'll witness next will shock you to your core. Beloved chosen one, as we reach the end of this sacred journey together, I need you to carry these truths with you, like precious stones in your heart. Remember this: every whisper spoken against you in darkness has become evidence in heaven's courtroom. Every betrayal you've endured wasn't your ending. It was your enemy's beginning of their own destruction. The masks have fallen, the pride has crumbled, and divine justice has spoken with a voice that echoes through eternity. But here's what I want you to know with absolute certainty: you are not walking this path alone. Even when the betrayal cut deepest, even when the loneliness felt suffocating, the God who created you before time began has been orchestrating your vindication. He hasn't forgotten your tears. He hasn't ignored your pain. He's been preparing your triumph. And beyond God's unwavering presence, you have something beautiful right here, right now. Look around these comments, see these hearts connecting, feel these spirits resonating. This isn't just a YouTube channel. This is a sanctuary of souls who understand your journey because they've walked it too. We are your tribe, your spiritual family, your army of intercessors ready to lift you up when the weight feels too heavy. Let me ask you this final question, and let it settle deep in your spirit. Now that you've witnessed how God turns their weapons against them, how he makes their schemes become their own snares, what will you do with this revelation? Will you continue to carry the burden of their betrayal, or will you release it into God's capable hands and step into the freedom he's purchased for you? Before I release you into your destiny, place your hand on your heart and let me pray over you like a father praying over his beloved child. Heavenly Father, I place my hand on the shoulder of every precious soul hearing these words right now. Lord, you see the scars they carry from betrayal's cruel knife. You know the nights they've cried in secret, wondering if justice would ever come. But tonight, Father, let them feel your vindication washing over them like healing rain. God, bless their future with doors that no man can shut. Heal the wounds that cut deepest. Restore what was stolen. Elevate what was buried. Let every person who wronged them witness your goodness flowing through their lives like a mighty river. Give them peace that surpasses understanding, joy that comes in the morning, and hope that anchors their souls through every storm. Let them wake tomorrow not as survivors of betrayal, but as victors in your divine plan. In Jesus' mighty name, surround them with favor, protection, and the unshakable knowledge that their enemies' schemes have only served to position them for greater blessing. Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, share how this message has impacted your heart. Tell us about your own experiences with betrayal and justice. Ask us to pray for specific situations you're facing. Don't hold back. This community will surround you with love and intercession. And please, if this message has stirred something deep in your soul, share it with someone who needs to hear it. There's someone in your life right now who's watching their enemies crumble and wondering if God truly sees their pain. Be the vessel that carries hope to them. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart and allowing these words to minister to the sacred places of your soul. If this is your first time here, welcome to the family. Hit that subscribe button and join thousands of believers who gather here to be encouraged, equipped, and reminded that God's justice never sleeps. Until we meet again, walk in the confidence that your vindication is complete, your enemies' schemes have backfired, and your God reigns supreme. You are chosen. You are vindicated. You are never alone.